Yes, yes, yes. It's the Boxing Talk with Rafi. We're on. Boxing Talk with Rafi 296. We had, I think we had an echo. We had a double effect. I think there was two windows open. There was an extra window open. That's fine. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Let me do a sound check on that. There's a sound check. That's fine. As a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Okay, that's good. Let's get the music back. Okay, we're good. And we are live. Okay, so we're going to start where we started. But no time to waste. We cannot tarry. Got to get straight into the thing. Okay, so how do we do this? First things first. Let's get the screen right. What we're looking for. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what are you seeing? You should be seeing the thumbnail. Yes. Okay, that's good. We've got good visibility on that. And we also have the scroller down the bottom. Okay, so where do we begin? Hello and welcome to Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let me make a decision. Matter of fact, first things first, let's drop that down. Go into this. Let's get into this. Let's go in. Where are we going to start? Where are we going to start? Let me have a look. Let's see what we got up. We might as well get straight into it with the news that David Benavidez. What's this? Now live on your channel, eh? What is that? Now, okay, that's another notification that I received. I just received two notifications. But anyway, let me get this up on your screens. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's make sure you can see what I can see. Okay, that's good. That's good, yeah. Okay, so David Benavidez tests positive for COVID-19 and is subsequently out of his August the 28th fight against Jose Uzcategui. Let's just say Jose. I'll say Uzcat. Let's just say Jose Uzcat. He's out. Okay. All right, let's get into that story. This is somewhat breaking news. Just broke what? Something like an hour ago. Okay, let's get into this. All right, so David Benavidez's journey towards becoming the WBC mandatory challenger for the super middleweight title he has twice lost has been delayed. Yes, he's lost it twice before. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio has just learned that Benavidez has tested positive for the COVID-19. As a consequence, has withdrawn from his upcoming fight with Jose Uzcategui. Okay, so Benavidez, 24-0, 21 KOs. And Uzcategui, 31-4, 26 KOs. Okay, they were supposed to headline a Showtime Championship boxing triple header August 28th from the Footprint Arena, the home venue of the NBA, National Basketball Association's Phoenix Suns. Okay, so obviously, clearly, that is now not going to happen. The fight between Benavidez and Iscatigu scheduled 12-round WBC elimination bout. Okay, the 24-year-old Benavidez is already the WBC's #1 contender for the 168-pound champion, Canelo Alvarez. What's going on? What's going on? Okay, that's the article. It's a quick one. It's a quick one. Breaking news. David Benavidez tests positive for COVID-19 and is therefore out of the August 28th fight against Jose Iscatigu. Okay, so no delay. That's one down. A few more to go. Let's have a look at the article. Where is it? Where is the article? There it is. Okay, so we've done that one. Let's keep it moving. What's going on? Oh, the bronze plumber is up in the building. I don't know if the notifications have gone out. Seemed like notifications weren't sent earlier on. It's not my fault. It's the YouTube's. So the eye injury excuse was taken already, says the bronze plumber. Did you receive the notification, the bronze plumber? Did you receive the notification? Because I'm not sure they've gone out. But anyway, as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, while I'm here, let me just put out the link. Early doors, and then go over. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, let's pin that now. Boom, there you go. Sorted. Is it pinned? Jobs are good. Okay, so let's come out of that. Let's stop sharing that and have a look. See where we go next. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Benavidez. Manny Pacquiao training hard for Yordanis Ugas. Okay. Okay, Pacquiao, he should be. Okay. So let's get into the main. Let's get into the main thing. Should I do that first, or should I do? Okay, first and foremost, let's before we go to the Pacquiao and the Spence and the Ugas, let's do this first. Let's do this first. Let's share the screen with you. Okay, let's boom. Let's see. Let's make sure you can see what I can see. Okay, that looks good. You got good visibility on that. Okay, let's have a look. See. Okay. No notification. Just having to do YouTube home. Yeah, okay. So that's what I thought. Notification has not gone out. I don't know how that works, but it happens. Bees like that sometimes. I don't know the remedy for that. But yeah, it's a bit awkward. But anyway, never mind. Let's get on with it. So the IBF ruling spoils Trilla's plans for Teofimo Lopez versus Jorge Cambosis Jr. fight in Australia. Okay, as we all know, Trilla have had some problems with this card. What was it? One of the guys came up lame or whatever it was. One of them came up ill, and I think the thing had to be pushed back. I think that's the sequence. And now we hear Triller wanted to take it to Kambosos' homeland, I believe Australia. But it looks like the IBF ruling has scuppered those plans. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Let's delve into that. What's going on? Where is it? Where's the full story? Let's have a look. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, that bell wasn't on full power. You'll have to excuse that. Next time around should be much more powerful. Okay, so where are we? Where are we? Teofimo Lopez will no longer be defending his 4 lightweight titles against Jorge or George Kambosos Jr. in Australia, as Triller had planned after Monday's ruling by the IBF scuppers those aspirations. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so the contracts from Triller are due by August the 24th, according to ESPN. If Triller fails to supply them by that date, then Teofimo versus Kambosos Jr. fight will fall to Matchroom Boxing, OMG, because they were the second highest bidder, weren't they? And if they fail to take it, Top Rank, Teofimo's promoter, will be next in line. Okay, so originally, Triller put in a whopping $6 million plus bid to win the rights to stage the Lopez versus Kambosos. It's still mind-boggling why Triller bid so high for what is essentially a run-of-the-mill, non-marquee fight involving Teofimo facing a guy unknown to the US boxing fans in the form of Kambosos. You can argue that $2 million will be pushing the envelope. OMG. So Triller went way high. Still not really clear why they went so high with the Shizniks. It's good for Teofimo Kambosos Jr. That Triller put in such a massive bid, as they're going to make a killing from the fight. But it's doubtful the match will bring in more than a tiny dribble of pay-per-view buys. Okay, so that looks like a loss. That looks like it's going to be a loss for Triller. The International Boxing Federation, IBF, ruled that Teofimo Kambosos Jr. fight must take place in a place that doesn't involve a quarantine, which had been the case in Australia. Okay, as such, Triller, the promoters for the event, will need to scrap their plans to take this thing to Sydney, Australia, on October the 17th. Teofimo and his management had been dead set on fighting in Australia. But since early June, Triller has been trying to get the Kambosos Jr. fight. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, Teofimo came down with the COVID himself. What's this here? Since early June, Triller has been trying to get the Teofimo versus Kambosos fight Jr. done, but things kept on getting in the way of this less than desirable fight. It was originally set for June the 5th, but it was then moved to June the 19th. Then Teofimo came down with the COVID-19, which once again put the fight in limbo. In the meantime, Teo threatened to vacate his IBF strap to avoid the Kambosos Jr. fight altogether, a move that would have made Triller unhappy given all the time and money that they poured into making this fight a reality. Okay, so there was a lot of back and forth with this fight. So where's it going to end up? Where is it going to end up? It'll be good for the US boxing public once this fight is over and done with. because they want to see Teofimo face former 3-division world champion in the form of Vasily Lomachenko already. So this thing, we're now closer. We're now closer to the finish line with this thing. What's this technicality? They're talking about some technicalities here. If Kambosos Jr. decides that he doesn't want to go through the ordeal of being away from his wife, who's about to have a baby, he can always bail on the fight and go back to Australia. In that case, Kambosos Jr. would be replaced by number 2 contender, IBF contender, Isaac Cruz. A fighter that is arguably far better. A fighter that is an arguably far better fighter. Okay, so we know we're closer. We're not closer to this saga coming to an end. We just know it's not going to be in Australia. That's the way it's looking. Okay, so what can you say to that? What's left to say to that? Just hurry up and get it on. That's all you can say. Hurry up and get it on. What's going on? What's going on? Pablo Diablo up in the building. How you doing, Pablo? Yeah, we're just pushing out some more content for the people, aiming to feed the people, but I don't know if the notification went out, but it don't matter either way. They'll see it when they see it. You take another drink from a cup, pure water, aqua. Nice and cold. Okay. So let's come out of that. What's going on here? What's going on here? Let's, as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Let's check the backstage. Let me just push this link out a couple more times. Actually, that should suffice. That should suffice. Okay. Let's go. What's next? What's next? What's next? Excuse me. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. 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 Right. Let's get into that. Are you going to get into that? Or are we going to get into this? Which way are we going to go? Which way are we going to go? We can either go the Manny Pacquiao route, or we can get into, where's the David Benavidez? Where's the David Benavidez? I think we're going to do the David Benavidez. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Let's stop sharing that. And start sharing this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Hopefully you got good visibility on that. So let's go with it. Let's go. Okay, so David Benavidez tests positive for the COVID-19 and is out of the August 28th fight against Jose Uzcategui. Okay, so as the title says, Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio has learned that Benavidez has tested positive for the COVID-19 and has withdrawn from his upcoming fight against Jose Uzcategui. Okay, so the bout between Phoenix's Benavidez and Venezuela's Uzcategui was scheduled for as a 12-rounder WBC elimination match. The 24-year-old Benavidez is already the WBC's #1 contender for its 168-pound champion, who goes by the name of Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, excuse me with the mispronunciation. Okay, so contracting COVID-19 is yet just another setback for the unbeaten Benavidez. He hasn't lost in the ring, but the WBC has stripped him of its super middleweight championship not once, but two time. So, yeah, as you may know, the WBC first took its super middleweight crown from Benavidez after he tested positive for cocaine in August 2018. He won it back by stopping Anthony Durrell in the 9th round of their fight in September 2019, but Benavidez lost it again when he came in nearly 3 pounds overweight for his subsequent bout, a voluntary title defense against Alexis Angulo almost a year ago. Okay, so it wasn't clear at the time this story was posted if Showtime will move forward with the 3-bout broadcast on August the 28th or postpone it, because Benavidez was the primary draw in what was billed as a homecoming fight for him and his older brother, Jose Benavidez Jr. Okay, so what else is they saying? What else are they saying? Showtime's also supposed to... Okay, what's going on? Showtime is also supposed to showcase another fighter from Phoenix, undefeated Carlos Castro, as part of its broadcast on August the 28th. Okay, so that's it. Don't look like there's any clarity on what's going to happen going forward. All we know is that David Benavidez has tested positive for the COVID-19 and is therefore out of his August the 28th fight against Jose Uzcategui. That's most unfortunate. And the Aaron Daly up in the building. Okay, so yes, David Benavidez out of the bout August 28th, and we don't know what's going to happen going forward. We don't know. Okay, so that's breaking news. We'll have to wait for the clarification. On that. Very unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. Okay, so where are we going? Now? Hold on, just seen something. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm familiar with some of those stories. It's a question of what we go next. Where do we go next? It's pretty clear. It's pretty obvious to me. Okay, so there it is. Okay, let's stop sharing that. Start sharing this. Boom, boom, boom. How's the visibility like? You got good visibility on that? Damn, nothing tastes sweeter than cold water on a warm day. Okay, so let us proceed and get into this shiznix. Okay. So, as you may know by now, Errol Spence Jr. is out of the Manny Pacquiao fight with a torn, what do you call it? What is that thing called? A detached or a torn retina. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, so Yordenis Ugas will fight Manny Pacquiao instead of Errol Spence Jr. Okay, so Manny Pacquiao will still challenge for a welterweight title on August the 21st in Las Vegas. It just won't be against Errol Spence. Okay, so the Filipino senator will now face Cuba's Yordenis Ugas after a retinal tear in Spence's left eye was discovered during a pre-fight medical exam. PBC announced on Tuesday. Okay, so the exam was conducted by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and took place on Monday. Spence will undergo surgery on Wednesday in Dallas. Pacquiao was installed as the minus 300 favorite over Ugas by Superbook at Westgate, Las Vegas on Wednesday. Ugas, ESPN's number 6 boxer at 147 pounds, was scheduled to defend his title against Fabiana Medina. Okay, yeah, I remember this story. Yeah, there was a tweet on it. Yeah, so Fabiano, where is the where are the tweets? Where are the tweets? In fact, where's Twitter? Is it down? I put it down. Okay, it's down. Fabiana Medina, and the PBX on Fox, the same card, the chief support bout, and he suffered an eye injury in sparring on Monday and had already withdrawn from the Ugas fight, sources told ESPN. So basically, Manny Pacquiao's opponent dropped out, and Ugas's opponent dropped out. So it was kind of like a match made in heaven. Both opponents dropping out. Where are we? Okay. I was very disappointed that I won't be able to fight Manny Pacquiao on August 21st, said Spence, who holds 2 welterweight titles. I was excited about the fight and the event. Unfortunately, the doctors found a tear in my left retina, left eye, and said I needed to get surgery on it ASAP, and that there was no way I could fight with my eye in that condition. So Spence took to Twitter late Tuesday, writing that he had 3 doctors look at his eye and that all were positive about his recovery. He said that he'll be back to face the winner of Pacquiao Ugas for sure. Wow, that quick. You're going to make such a quick turnaround with the torn retina. That kind of stuff used to end careers back in the day. Maybe, I don't know, maybe technology's got better in terms of the surgery, you know? And maybe it's just a tear, not a detachment. So, hey, maybe there's hope. Maybe there is hope. Maybe. It's a hell of a coincidence. One hell of a coincidence. I'm sipping pure aqua. Pure aqua. Nothing better than pure aqua, cold aqua on a warm summer evening in England, somewhere in England. Okay, so Pac-Man will be fighting to win his own belt back. Yeah, that's a hell of a twist. Aaron Daddy says, is it just me that thinks Ugas is a bad style matchup for Pacquiao? Well, it's an interesting question that you pose. because to me, I think Ugas walks around like he's got lead in his feet. He's got lead boots. Ugas has got lead boots. I think that that's going to be good for Pacquiao. Pacquiao is going to be dirty, but the counterbalance that is that Ugas is a good counter guy. He's a good counter puncher. So that's the other side of that. And then another side still is that Pacquiao is rather fleet of foot when he darts in and darts out. He darts in and out like a hummingbird. Darts in and out like a hummingbird. So is that going to be good for Ugas? I don't think so. I think Ugas, and then you flip it again, because there's so many sides to a story. You flip it again and say, well, Ugas is just going to stand there in his lead boots and time Pacquiao. Could knock him dead like what's his name there? Fella. Name escapes me. But anyway, so will come to me in a second. Yeah, so there's differing opinions. I can see it multiple different ways. And the boxing fans are supposed to sip on pure BS. It ain't my fault, my friend. It ain't my fault. I got pure aqua over here. I'm just glad I got pure aqua over here. Looks a bit suspicious. Is it just be that or is it PBC always intended to put Ugas versus Pac-Man? I don't know. Why would Spence get embroiled in such an entanglement? Why would he do that? It's an interesting question. Why would he do that? I think Ugas counters the life out of Pacquiao at this stage. Uh-oh. It's certainly a possibility, isn't it? It's certainly a possibility, because even though he's got lead boots, he will just stand there in his lead boots and look to pick off the opponent. So many ways to look at these shiznicks. Where is this? Spence was involved in a horrific one-car crash in October 2019 that resulted in a lengthy hospital stay. Was it that lengthy? Didn't seem that lengthy. Of course, Spence wasn't wearing any seatbelt, and I think the top was down. Was the top down? I think the top was down. It was somewhat miraculously that he came back from that. Now he's got a torn retina. It's kind of ironic. It's kind of bizarre. He survives a high-speed car crash with no seatbelt. Now he's got to deal with a torn retina. Crash couldn't keep him out of the ring, but the torn retina will do, at least in the short term. But you can't help but wonder if this is just a sign that Spence, after going through after putting his body through such a trauma as a high-speed car crash without a seatbelt. You got to wonder if there's little things rattling. There's little things niggling. You're going to have to wonder. And even in his fight with Garcia, I did notice that he kept those hands mighty high. Those hands were up mighty high. It was almost as if, I think I said in the broadcast, it was almost as if he got touched in training or whatever, or his trainers or the medical people told him to keep his hands up high, but it wasn't a good look to me. Not at all. Some people said he looked great. I said, no, I'm not sure. I will reserve my opinion. He won against Garcia, fair dues. That's a solid win. But I still said I will reserve my opinion. I want to see him again before I cast judgment. Okay, so what are we looking at? Spence wants to age Manny. Pacquiao was looking hot in training. Spence wants Ugas to weaken him first. Dang. How did Errol and Medina both get hurt in sparring? Well, you know, it happens. It happens, I guess. It happens, I guess. It's just unfortunately, you know, it worked out this way. As for the conspiracy theories, I'm not sure, man. I'm really not sure, man. Because, I mean, you got to have commissions. Commissions have to inspect the injuries. Theoretically, that's how it's supposed to be. Is that how it actually goes down? Well, I would like to think so. You know, things can happen backstage from time to time. Things can happen. Words can be spoken. Agreements can be made. Deals can be made. Money can be made. Not on mine. Not on mine, though. Pac-Man should have had the Canelo clause versus Plant to get the same cash even if the BBC swap opponents at the last minute. Well, that's the Canelo clause, but the Canelo clause didn't even work for Canelo. Dang. I don't even know why my mouth's so dry right about now, but here goes. Some more aqua, still cold. Yeah, the Canelo deal didn't even work for Canelo, so I don't know how the Canelo deal is going to work for other people if it can't work for Canelo. You know what I mean? It's a tough one, a tricky one. Who's going to accept that, though? Who's going to accept that Canelo deal? I don't know. Who's going to accept that Canelo deal? I really don't know. And is it reasonable to say I want the same money regardless of who the opponent is? I don't think that's reasonable. If the opponent is less of a draw, then, you know, that's less money coming in. So, you know, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions to be asked about that shiznix. Let's have a look what's going on. It's protection. It's protected. Canelo, Pac-Man have been shafted now. Canelo shafted. Is he? Is he? Or is the man's reasonable? Whoever comes in, whoever the replacement is, I got to get the same money. I got to get the same money. Look like PBC wants a 2 PPV fight out of Pac. PBC contract almost up on Fox. That is true. PBC contract almost up at Fox. We wait to see whether Fox will be renewing. We have to wait and see for that. But in comes Ugas, the 35-year-old Cuban. Who won bronze, mind you, for Cuba at the 2008 Olympic Games, and in his only title shot, dropped a controversial decision to Sean Porter in a 2019 title fight. Many feel that Ugas, 35, had won. Okay, now I prepare for a far bigger test. It is an honor to fight the great multi-division world champion Manny Pacquiao, as I am more than ready to take on this challenge, said Ugas. 24, 26, 4, 12 KOs. I have tremendous amount of respect for Pacquiao, but I am coming to win this fight. Everyone know my story about how I came to America to follow my dreams of becoming a world champion. And now it's time to stamp my legacy with a victory as one of the best Cuban fighters ever to put on a pair of gloves. I love my country. And I want to dedicate this fight to all of the men and the women who are fighting for their freedom over there in the Cuba right now, as we speak, as we sit here comfortably. But you know, my people, they are fighting for their freedom. And I want to use this fight as an inspiration to my people, to let them know I'm still thinking of them, I'm thinking about them. My heart is in Cuba, but I have to live here for the freedom. Okay, those are the words. Those are the words of Ugas. What's his first name? What's his first name? Yeah, get into that. Second, it's hard to pronounce. It's hard to pronounce. Okay, what's going on? I hope Pac gets that WBA belt from Ugas and goes and fights Crawford. Stick it to the PBC. Too many PBC fighters are pulling out a big fight and it's sickening. It's unacceptable. It's not on. It's not on. I thought demands were dodgy, but look how Pac-Man has been shafted now by opponents. Quick swap. BBC would have ensured Spence had suitable protection in sparring if there was a financial liability. Suitable protection. I don't get you. If you tear your retina, you tear your retina. Is there a perception that Pacquiao had to fight Ugas? Is that the perception? Is that the perception that Pacquiao had to fight Ugas? Because if that's the perception, I don't think that's correct. I don't think Pacquiao had to fight Ugas. I don't think Pacquiao had to fight the replacement. I'm not sure about that. You know what I mean? Replacements, if the guy who signed the contract to fight drops out, was he obliged to fight Ugas, or was that an option that Pacquiao took? I'm getting the impression that that was an option that Pacquiao himself took. That was an option that he took. That's something that he wanted to do. That's my perception. PBC feared Spence would lose those belts. They switched opponent to avoid it. Hold on, you're saying to me that you think that are you saying that, so if Spence, well, hold on, Pacquiao's going to beat, most likely going to beat Ugas. That's my opinion. Pacquiao beats Ugas. So then Pacquiao gets Ugas's belt, which is Pacquiao's old belt. So that was what? That was the WBA Super, was it not? That was the WBA Super, was it not? Pac will fight anyone. Warrior, not diva. Yeah, warrior, absolute warrior. I've read that Spence didn't know, and the tear was picked up on the pre-fight medical. Yeah, that's what I've read. He wouldn't accept the verdict, so got 2 second opinions. Yeah. That's what I've read. That's what I've read. Big Boys Boxing says I'm not buying it. Okay. This is very, very intriguing. There's a lot of conspiracy thinking going on. I wasn't thinking about conspiracies, but now you got me wondering. What's going on here? What's going on? Let's drop that. Let's stop sharing that and let's go to Twitter. Let's go to Twitter. Have a look at Twitter. Dang. What the hell's going on there? Let's get the size up, damn it. Looks like, yeah, okay. Look. How'd that look? All right, a little bit more. Okay. How'd that look? All right, I think that'll work. Okay, so let's let's have a look at dang. Let's have a look at some of my likes. Let's go through this. Okay, obviously that's Ugas with his good lady wife right there. Life standing by him. Pacquiao on the left. Spence is now out. And it looks like people are thinking it's a conspiracy, and now you got me wondering. Now I'm wondering if it was a conspiracy. Dang. Got me wondering. Oh, Lord. Oh, damn. Come on, son. Oh, all right, let's get out of that. Okay, so nobody said it happened just now. It was discovered in his pre-fight licensing exam. What else did it say? How do you get torn retina in 1 week before the biggest fight of your career? Plus, why are you still sparring 1 week before your fight? Blah. That can ruin his career, let alone a fight. That's a rough one. OMG. OMG. And in comes the man like the Iron Kong.
Rafi, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm just enjoying some cold aqua and a warm night in the center of England.
Up in the heartland and the canal capital of the world.
You know that.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah,
What's going on? What's going on with the PBC guys dropping out? What's going on?
I don't know, bro. PBC, man. PBC is just, oh man, what a shambles of an organization. Everything just is everything is high drama. As I guess as Joshua says, man, it's just most talk, man. Them dudes ain't got no action, man. It's always something. Always something. You know, I remember listening to your guy, Ness.
Yeah.
Ask Eddie Hearn, why don't the Zone offer PBC some dates? Why don't the Zone offer PBC $100 million for some dates? I'm thinking to myself, for what? For some scripted soap operas of some terrible fights, overpaying guys, terrible fights. Now you have fighters who are not showing up. Something's always wrong. I'm sick. I'm this. I'm that. Something's always wrong with these PBC dudes. So it's always something with these PBC guys. Something's always wrong. But this is what it is, man. I mean, this Spence thing, I find it fishy that Spence, as well as Ugas' training partner, got eye injuries so close to each other that conveniently sets up the Manny Pacquiao fight with Ugas. So what are you trying to stretch out the amount of pay-per-views you might get with Manny Pacquiao? I mean, it just seems way too convenient. It just seems real strange. To me, that's all.
Yeah. PBC ducks running home. Is that what's going on here? PBC ducks running home. Is that what it is? Are the ducks coming home to roost? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Okay. Say no more. What's going on here? I know what I'm looking for. I know when I see it. Now I see it. Am I going to be able to get this thing large enough that people can see it clearly? What's going on? It's getting smaller. Okay. So let me see if people can see. No. I'll read it anyway. Okay. Yordanis Ugas. Before I talk about my next fight, I want to pay a word of respect to Spence. It has been 4 years of rivalry, and finally this year we were going to fight. Pacquiao came back and ruined the fight, but he was happy for you because I'm sure you were going to win and take the name of a great legend. I have been silenced I have been a silent fan of yours, and I have seen you with joy how you have become a great star. Just 2 years ago, I and many of us were here praying for your life, and you came back from the dead. Came back from the dead, jeez, to remain a champion. I am sure you're going to come back from this injury too. I have the greatest fight. I have the biggest fight and the most dream of any fighter who steps into a gym. I can't finish my career without fighting you. God bless you. Recover, champion. Respect. Team Ugas. Yeah, so that's Ugas. That's Ugas to, I think that's Ugas to Spence. Yeah, that's Ugas to Spence.
What was the accent?
This is the accent. Well, I didn't know I thought I was doing Manny. Then I thought I was doing Ugas, so I had to change I had to change horses midstream, and you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Sounds like a Brummy Zorro. What's that, bro?
Man, I was just thinking about the High Chaparral, and I went with it. You know, I was thinking High Chaparral. I think I almost got through it without anyone noticing. Okay, so what's going on here? If this would have been AJ with an injury before Usyk, what are you trying to? Hey, it's before Usyk now. What are you trying to do? Robert Navarro, what are you trying to do? You're trying to jinx the thing? You don't do that, Robert. Don't do that. We don't need any more last minute injuries. We don't need it. Let's have a poultry. We have a large selection of rotten poultry on PBC's Isolation Island. Soon it will be a smorgasbord. Yo, it might be stinking to high heaven. You know, the poultry, rotten poultry. Yeah, you know, I wasn't really thinking conspiracy, but everybody else is, so maybe, just maybe this really was a conspiracy after all.
Rafi, you see, you know, it's just interesting how
very convenient.
It's just very, 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 very convenient that you could just set up this fight, you know, bait and switch and say, look, you know, I was on a stream today with a dude who was like, he's pissed off. He paid $2,000 each for tickets for him and his lady to go to see Spence fight Pacquiao, and they won't give him back a refund.
No.
They will not give him back. I was like, $4,000? You can't get back your refund? He said, no.
That's ridiculous.
They said to resell the tickets through them, and that's the only, and that's my option. I was like, wow.
That's what they did to me. That's what they did to me with the Wilder and Fury one. Wilder and Fury one. They wouldn't give me a refund. I had to sell it back through them, make a loss. Well, I just happened to get rid of the tickets when I saw they were doing. When I saw it was outside of Vegas, so it was inconvenient. It's at the Staples Center. There's nothing around there. I checked the map thoroughly. Trust me, that ain't no tourist destination. And then I saw a week undercard, and I said, you know what? Give me back my money. Give me back my money. I was duped. Didn't get the whole thing back, but I got most of it back. I said, okay, thank you, and good riddance. And some of these ticket companies, if you read up on them, it's not very impressive. It's not very impressive. Their customer service ain't very impressive. Once they got your money, they don't play. They don't play nice. They don't play nice once they got your money. What's going on here? What people saying? Okay. Okay, let me press on. Let's come out to that.
I see you, Rafi. I see you out here sending salutations.
What did I say? Oh, did I speak to the lady?
Sending salutations to the
I speak to the lady.
To the Amiga. I see you.
Hey, Shorty. Hey, she hasn't responded. She hasn't even responded yet, and that was 10 hours ago. That was 10 hours ago. What's going on? Is Rafi losing his touch? Yo, you better get back to me, lady. You better. You know what? She probably just do it in private mess PM. She can't go out there in Front Street like that.
I got you.
Expect her to come out there in Front Street like that.
I feel you.
Look at Will Smith. Even Will Smith is admiring. I think we should just one more time. Just let one more look.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right. I like that. I feel that. Like in the garden, you know, on a summer's day, like about, you know, before the sun reaches its peak, like in the morning. Yeah. I can see that. Okay. We'll come back to that later. What's going on? What is going on? What's this here? Ammonites, when PBC was all about free boxing. Anyway, that's a whole different story. What was that? That was a couple of days ago. Okay, I think I've gone past all of the stuff that I had for today. Certainly with regards to Pacquiao, Spence. So everybody thinks it's a conspiracy. Damn. Everybody thinks it's a conspiracy. Why cancel? Why not postpone? Cancel what? Nothing's canceled. What's canceled? I don't think it's canceled. Nothing's canceled. Fight's going ahead. Pacquiao and Ugas ain't canceled. Boom. It's going ahead. Let's have a look. Pacquiao should never fight Spence now. Take his own belt back and fight Bud or just retire. Don't let the PBC benefit from their shenanigans. So I can relate to that. I'd prefer him to fight Crawford anyway. But I want Pacquiao.
I don't think Manny Pacquiao is confident in that fight. I don't think Manny Pacquiao is confident in Spence, but I do not think Manny Pacquiao is confident in that Crawford fight. Otherwise, he would have fought Crawford.
Yeah, he don't want Crawford. That's the problem. He don't want Crawford. People are saying he should go. He don't want Crawford.
He don't want to fight Crawford. I don't think so.
I think he said out of his own mouth that Crawford's better than Spence.
Yeah. He said Spence is slow and all of that. So for him, Spence was the touch, right?
Yeah.
But Crawford, listen, a lot of these guys talk about Terence Crawford. They very well know what they got to deal with Terence Crawford. They know what they got to deal with.
Yeah. They know. They don't want it, man. I mean, would you? Who wants Crawford? I mean, he's 34, 35 now, so he's got to be coming up to the wall. But right about now, he's still on it. Yeah, I don't think he's fallen off yet. He will do. He will do in the next couple of years, as far as I'm concerned. But right about now, not yet. And in comes late notification man, John D. Lee. Did you get a late notification, John?
No, I've just got back from gymnastics, Rafi.
Okay. Notifications, I don't know if they went out properly. I don't think they went out properly.
One of my gymnastics clubs back open, so I'm training Tuesday and Wednesday nights at the moment.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But anyway, nonetheless, regardless, it's good to have you in here. Topics galore. You probably haven't heard that David Benavidez has come down with failed a COVID test.
I had just about heard that before I set off.
Okay.
So I was listening to people discuss the Pacquiao situation with Errol Spence.
Yeah.
And it just dropped while I was listening to that when I was on the way into gymnastics.
Gotcha. I'm just stepping away from the mic. So if you want to talk about the Pacquiao situation, you and Kung, you know that Ugas has stepped in now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Take it, John. Back in a second.
Well, I mean, my thoughts personally is I think it's a genuine injury because I don't think that he's the same person he was before the car crash.
Yeah.
And if it is a torn retina or his retina's detached or any type of retina injury, then we'll know if it's genuine, because if he's fighting in the next 3 months, it's fake. Basically, you're going to struggle to get licensed in America with a torn retina, full stop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think he's shot, to be honest. And I've thought it for a while, so I think it's legit, personally. Somebody made an interesting point that Pacquiao probably hasn't been protected, so he isn't going to get the same purse that he was going to get against Errol Spence. And that was why Canelo pulled out of negotiations, because if they baited and switched him, he might have to take a purse cut, which is interesting because they have just baited and switched a big, massive star who's not signed with the PBC potentially, or it's genuine. Either way, people are pulling out of fights left, right, and centre at the moment. So it would seem like a sensible thing for a big-time A-side fighter who gets paid a lot of money to fight to actually protect themselves with a guaranteed purse, irrespective of opponent. But I know the fight doctor was very upset about that particular clause. And I've seen quite a lot of other people get upset about it. But then we go and see this happen. So maybe it isn't such a bad thing to do.
Rafi is away, but let me just say, in terms of your gymnastics, sir, I actually performed a very good cartwheel for my sons over the weekend. You know, to see a fat man do a cartwheel is a wonderful thing. My sons loved it. So you know, you're not so much better than me.
Happy with this sort of thing, Kong. It's great. Kids love it.
Yeah, I mean, I did a cartwheel for them, and they were amazed. I felt like a superstar again. I felt like I was somebody again, right? So, you know, just letting you know.
What happened?
What?
Well, you felt like a superstar. What happened?
Oh, I was just telling John, don't come here talking about, oh, I went to gymnastics training, as if like he's standing on me. Because on the weekend, I performed cartwheels for my sons.
Oh, you can still do cartwheel.
Hey, I've been accused of a tardy attendance, so I had to give my legitimate reasons.
To see a fat man do a cartwheel is a wonderful thing.
I might send you some links to some stuff, Kong. You know,
now he wants to style on me to show me all his round offs and all this. All I said was I did my cartwheel. Now he wants to show me. Go ahead, John. Send me a backflip. Go ahead. You know, bring me down a peg. Go ahead, John. That's fine.
Okay. Fat man should end his career at Old Trafford. Sellout versus the mighty Amir Khan. Oh my goodness. I don't mind seeing Pac-Man in the UK, but please.
I don't need to see Amir Khan get knocked out by the Pac-Man.
Yeah, I don't
what's he done to the bronze plumber?
Yeah.
What has Amir Khan done to you?
Yeah.
I've seen Amir Khan get knocked out enough. I don't need to see it again.
Probably called him out on an emergency job and didn't pay him.
Well, let me just say, in terms of the guaranteed plus, I completely agree with Canelo. Let me tell you something. Don't bother saying, look, man, I'm gonna offer you $100 million for one fight. You know what I'm saying? Get the fighters' eyes dazzled. Then they don't watch the contract. Then all of a sudden you pull out this fighter because you want this fighter, because this fighter ain't signed to you, but you want to get your money's worth out of this guy. You pull him out, get him to fight somebody else. I'm be like, look here, man. This ain't the same fight, so we're gonna offer you $10 million.
So hold on a second. Hold on. Let me just stop you there for a second. So is it my opinion that both you and John Dealey believe that this is a setup, PBC setup?
Well, no.
Well, I don't.
It's not my opinion.
I'm wavering on it. It just seems fishy that Spence and Ugas's training partner had eye injuries so close to each other, and all of a sudden it so nicely sets up this, right? It just because it's my opinion, when Canelo was going through that with PBC, he was thinking the same thing. Bro, try and guarantee me money that you can afford to pay me. Okay, you're gonna guarantee me $40 million, right? But what's to stop you from saying Caleb Plant pulls a Tyson Fury and all of a sudden he got COVID? Now all of a sudden you got me here. I've trained for a fight. I've paid for my fight camp. I've done all of this. I want to fight, but you're like, look here, man, it ain't Caleb Plant and we don't have $40 million for your next opponent. So, what's to stop a promoter from running jokes games and baiting and switching, pulling out a whatever. You see, a lot of these guys are pissed off because he didn't do what the PBC wanted him to do. They're pissed off at that, but they're not looking at it from the perspective of the labor. Because if, for instance, if the Lakers and Brooklyn Nets are playing, Kevin Durant don't play, that don't change LeBron James' paycheck, right? LeBron James showed up. His paycheck is guaranteed. But for some reason, people want boxers to not look for guaranteed paychecks when they're actually putting their lives on the line. You see, you want to dazzle people's eyes with big guarantees, but when they actually get there, you pull a jokes move on them and switch out somebody else and say, look here, I can't pay that. So you should offer me what you know you can pay me regardless. When Billy Joe Saunders was acting a donkey, trying to pull out over a ring size, Eddie Hearn had John Ryder ready to go. Canelo would have got his money because they didn't offer him something that they couldn't pay. Right? Don't try and offer people things you can't pay, and then you got to pull moves. It's different perspectives on this. There's the promotional side, and then there's the labor side. The promotion want what they want, but labor also has to make sure they get what they get. If you offer me this money, I want this. You offer me this money for a fight, and I want this money. You know what I'm saying? So Pacquiao now is over there, and he has to fight Ugas, who might be a tougher fight than Spence, in my opinion, because Ugas is a really rough guy who I thought beat Sean Porter. Ugas is a very big guy.
I agree.
And he has to now switch training. He has to switch training on the fly to fight this dude. In terms of Spence being out, look, as John said, we'll know if it's genuine or not, because you don't get to come back from retinal tears like that, right? You don't get to come back like that. A matter of fact, eye injuries is something that who comes back from that, bro? Like if he fights Terence Crawford with a torn,
it can be career threatening.
Right.
Big Frank couldn't get licensed in all sorts of places because of his retina damage.
Right.
So the list is endless, isn't it?
Any boxer as your opponent is going to target your eye. They're going to target your eye. That's what it is. This is like Karate Kid. Sweep the leg.
Target the eye. Target the eye. Target the eye.
And what's the best punch to target the eye with?
The bronze bomber was supposed to target the eye. Didn't get anywhere near it.
But the thing is, right? The best punch to use is the jab. So if you just want to target someone's eye, that's. I mean, that should be your main punch anyway as a boxer. The amount of boxers that if they have the ability,
Joe Joyce the eye.
Exactly. So how did Spence do Kell Brook's face? Wasn't that with a jab?
It's the best punch. Best punch in boxing.
That's the most important punch in boxing.
Number one punch in boxing is the jab.
100%. But the other thing with this is like all the PBC supporters have got up in arms that Canelo wanted the same guaranteed purse if they changed the opponent. Do you think Anthony Joshua got paid any less when he had to fight Povetkin instead of Pulev? I mean, not Povetkin, Takam instead of Pulev. Eddie Hearn had the fight already. The tickets were sold. The pay-per-view did numbers because Anthony Joshua was a genuine A-side. So Eddie knew he could pay Anthony Joshua what he's supposed to get paid if there was a pullout due to injury. There was a pullout due to injury. The fight went ahead on the date. The fighter got the same purse. Yet when a true A-side fighter goes over to the PBC and he expects that type of contract, which is normal if you're dealing with Eddie Hearn, it's like Iron Kong said, if John Ryder had been put in instead of Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo's getting the same money. He goes to PBC, he expects that because that's what he gets where he is. And they're up in arms about it. And this is supposed to be a totally unreasonable request. Yet when he's fighting with Eddie, that's what happens. That's in the contract. It's because they don't have any A-side fighters over on PBC. They don't have any stars because they're not taking on. They're not building stars because they're not fighting the fights. Whatever you think about Canelo, he fought Mayweather when he was coming up, and he has had tough fights. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of him because of a lot of the things that he's done over the years, but he has put work in. That who on the PBC side has actually put any work in? Like Canelo's got a loss on his record because he fought Mayweather. He took the fight.
Yeah, he took the fight. He took the fight relatively early in his career. So you were not convinced it's a set up.
I just think Errol Spence is damaged goods.
Yeah,
I'm more than happy to believe that his reflexes are gone and he's got punched up in sparring and he's got a detached retina because of it.
Well, you see, that's my position. That's what I think. I think he's got bashed. He went through the car crash and unbelievably came back. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt. It was high speed. The damn thing flipped. I showed you the damn video at the time. Still in the archives. You see the damn Ferrari flipping over 1, 2, 3 times. Dude wasn't wearing no seatbelts. Dude was launched. Probably launched to safety, strangely enough. But you don't go through that without damage. You don't go through that without damage. So the man's damaged. Okay, came back and fought Garcia. Credit to him. But still, didn't look the same. To me, it looked tentative. To me, the earmuffs were way too high. And
there was clear slippage, Rafi.
Sorry?
I felt his timing wasn't very good.
In my opinion, he was an impaired version of Errol Spence.
Yeah, and that
you don't get through a car crash like that and come out the other end the same.
Well, do you remember what I said at the time of the crash?
Yeah, you said that he'd never be the same again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, he stands to reason. It stands to reason he'll never be the same again. So I'm not on the side of the fence that says it was a conspiracy and Pacquiao got set up. I think that Errol Spence probably does have a torn retina, and Errol Spence is damaged goods. Personally, I hope he comes back because we need all the top people in the game at the top. So personally, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's not damaged goods. But that's just the way I feel. When I saw him in the Garcia fight, and when I thought about it more prior to the Garcia fight, he's got to be damaged goods. Can he perform at previous levels? He got through it with Garcia. I don't know, man. I think he's damaged goods. I hope I'm wrong. But he's already received his blessing. He's already received his miracle by surviving that fight, surviving that car crash. So I don't know how many more miracles you get. How many miracles do you get in a sporting career? In a sporting career, car crash. I know many people, many a sportsman and junior sportsmen who had an accident and that was the end of their careers. I know a guy who was a very promising boxer. He had a car crash, did the knee, end of. But he held a lot of promise. So, this might be the end for Errol Spence.
The other point I was making, Rafi.
Yeah, I'm going to step away for a sec. Carry on.
No, I was going to put it to you. I'll just put it to Carl.
Okay. Yeah. Hit me.
So the fact that the PBC are upset at Canelo for wanting the same purse guarantee irrespective of opponent.
Yeah.
My point about that is that's normal in his contracts with Matchroom, and we've seen it happen with Joshua as well. And now we've seen Manny put in the same situation. I don't think Manny's as good at contracts. I've heard people talking about this, but I agree with them that Manny's probably going to have to take a pay cut now. Now, it could all be genuine, but it seems reasonable to me that Canelo was asking to actually have the same guarantee, because he's in a position where if he doesn't fight Caleb Plant and he chooses a different opponent, he's going to get paid well anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was on the fence about the same money for different opponents. It looked like it might be some kind of little shiesty move, little slick move, little slick ass move. But now with this thing playing out like it's played out, my whole thing was, yeah, you can get the same money if it's the same caliber of opponent.
Well, do you think? Okay, let's take it back a step to his last fight. Do you think if Billy Joe had actually pulled out and John Ryder had fought Canelo, do you think he's getting a pay cut for that? I don't think he would have got one.
No, I don't think.
And do you think Joshua got a pay cut when he fought Takam instead of Poulet?
I don't think so.
So my point is, I think where Canelo's been fighting for the last couple of years,
yeah,
this is what he normally expects to see in a contract. It's not unusual for him to see that.
You know what? That's a good argument, well explained. That's a good argument, well explained. Because I must confess, I was on the fence on that argument. I wasn't decided, but that is a good argument, well explained. That's fair enough.
And the other thing is, if you expect to see something in the contract because it's normally what's there, you think you're being reasonable. Yeah. And it's only because he's gone to a different platform that they made a stink about it.
Yeah, good argument. Very good argument. Very well explained. I don't think I've heard it put so succinctly. Okay, so what's going on here? The Bronze Plumber, yeah, some shout outs there. Sugar Ray, Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, paint the fence. Timothy Thomas is up in the building, his own inimitable way. How you doing, Timothy? Okay, no A-side fighters on PBC. Don't let Fight Doctor hear you say that. Where's the Fight Doctor? What's going on? Radio Shack closed already? Radio Shack closed early this week. Let's have a look. Will Spence go to Eddie? Will Spence. I really don't know what's left of Spence. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he might be shattered to bits. You don't go.
The real question is, would Eddie actually sign him? I don't think he'd sign
him. Would Eddie have use for Spence? Well,
he could potentially have use for him because he could do a deal with Bob for the Crawford fight.
Yeah, I think Eddie don't turn down top fighters like that. Eddie's taking him, in my opinion, because there's just possibilities there with Spence. Possibilities. Remember, these guys are all underutilized over there at PBC. Put them in Eddie's hands, you'll get 3 fights in 1 year.
That's the problem. They don't want to. A lot of them don't want that.
They don't want that. They don't want them 3 fights in 1 year. Put him with Eddie and at least 2.5 fights in 1 year. And
here we go.
Oh, here we are.
Hey, yo, but hey, I gotta roll. I gotta hit the road. Work's over.
Hey,
get out of here, man. Hey, Fight Doctor. Peace to you, bro. John Deely.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Iron Kong.
Yeah, man, I hit the road.
You have a safe journey home, and you keep doing those cartwheels.
Have a safe journey home, and don't be tempted to do any cartwheels for at least a week. Make sure the back is okay. Get the ice pack ready.
Iron Kong's young. He's only 40. What are you talking about?
Get the ice pack
no
ready.
Excuses.
The last time the Iron Kong did a somersault was in the schoolyard, in the playground. According to John Deely.
Not according to me. So I don't think there's any excuses. So
come on, Fight Doctor. Good
evening, Fight Doctor. How you doing?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. I just left Radio Shack, and
well, as long as you're not going in Tandy anymore, because that's even more worrying.
Exactly.
Tandy was worse. Radio Shack was an upgrade. But anyway, come on in, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are.
So the Fight Doctor is in the house on Radio Shack status, as always.
To be fair, Fight Doctor, so far, so good.
Hey, don't jinx it.
No, but I'm only. That's why I said so far so good.
Okay, so listen, I've been hearing what you guys have, been talking about. All right, and so the Anthony Joshua situation is interesting because, so I guess Joshua got the same money, in the first Ruiz fight that he would have got for his original opponent, for who was Jared Big Miller.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were aware of this. When he fought Takam, the actual mandatory was Pulev. I think it's for the IBF. Yeah, it's the IBF mandatory. Pulev pulled out with an injured shoulder. Eddie Hearn had Carlos Takam on standby because he was the next ranked available fighter. So that was classed as fulfilling the mandatory. And obviously he didn't take a pay cut for that. With Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo, Eddie also had John Ryder on standby. So if Billy Joe, I'm sure you remember the shenanigans, Billy Joe was threatening to walk away from the fight. They were messing about. Eddie was covered. John Ryder would have stepped in and Canelo would have got the same money.
So my question is, in those examples, are Joshua or Canelo, are they making $40 million plus an upside?
Well, why offer something, though, that you can't really guarantee? Because you're right. They weren't making that money. It was less. I think Joshua got 32 for the Ruiz fight, and he would have got around 20 million for the Takam fight.
So,
but
listen, this
is the point. Hear me out. The point is, why not guarantee what you can actually afford irrespective of opponent? And then if Canelo says he wants more, negotiate with him from there. And then you can put caveats in it about opponent and so on.
Well, see, here's the problem with that argument, right? Is that it's not about, you're framing it incorrectly when you say, why offer something that you can't guarantee? Well, okay, you can offer $40 million, and apparently you can guarantee $40 million, right? That's not the problem. The issue is that I'm guaranteeing this money for a certain product, right? Listen, when you go shopping, like if I go shopping, if I wish to buy a Ferrari, okay, and I'm paying you $200,000, however much a new Ferrari costs nowadays, well then bring me a Ferrari, right? If you come back to me with a Ferrero kit car, with a Fiero kit car that looks like a Ferrari, are you expecting me to pay you $200,000 for a fake Ferrari? Because that's essentially the argument that is being made here. That
well not quite, Fight Doctor. Let's be realistic about this, right? Joshua got paid $32 million for fighting Jarrell Miller. Yeah.
Right.
So that's only 8 million shy of what you're talking about.
Well, in my world, $8 million is a lot of money.
Jarrell Miller, and he ended up fighting Andrew Ruiz. At the time, who was seen as the better and bigger named fighter?
Listen, look, I don't think there's a lot of space between Andy Ruiz and Jarrell Miller. But at the end of the day, right, the argument that's being made here is that I should pay $200,000 for a fake kit car Ferrari as opposed to the real deal, right? A contract says I'm going to give you this amount of money to fight X fighter. And then you counter by saying, well, give me that amount of money regardless of who I fight.
But that's my point. It's not a counter. So with a matchroom contract, that's what you would get.
Okay, but see, here's the problem. He's not making that amount of money with matchroom.
No, he isn't. But I'm giving you examples of a £32 million fight.
All right, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. And I listen. I understand
I'm not giving you the example of a Ferrari for $200 million and giving you a kit car instead.
But
I'm giving you an example of a boxing contract on a platform that Canelo normally boxes on.
Right, but see that.
So
but
that's
again,
what he's used to seeing in the contract.
But once again, you're comparing apples to oranges because Alvarez is not making $40 million plus, which honestly he would have made much more than $40 million because it's $40 million plus an upside of the pay-per-view, right? So as the income potential goes up, so does the amount of risk for all parties involved, right? As you fight these.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on. I hear your argument. I hear your argument, Fight Doctor, and it's a decent argument. But here's the problem with that. You're saying that it's not the equivalent because as the matchroom contract, because he's getting much more upfront. Is that your argument?
My argument is this.
Canelo, your argument is that Canelo is getting much more upfront, so it's not the equivalent of a matchroom contract.
My argument is this. He's not making.
Hold on. That is your argument. Your argument is that, yes, it's similar to a matchroom contract, but different because he's getting much more.
Mr. Dawkins, may I ask you a question, please?
Mr. Dawkins. Therefore, you're saying, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, therefore, you're saying because he's getting much more upfront, because he's getting paid more, it's not an equivalent. Because he's getting paid more, he should bend towards what the PBC wants. That's your argument. Am I right or wrong?
Mr. Dawkins, are you going to make my argument or will I?
I'm asking you the question. Am I right or wrong?
Okay, well then please allow me to explain exactly what my thoughts are on the matter, please. If you
go on to explain and it's the same as what I've just said, then what was the point of that? But carry on.
My argument is that we keep bringing up these matchroom contracts as a point of reference when in reality it is comparing apples to oranges. Because in the matchroom contracts, he's making a set amount that's lower than the guarantee that he would have got for the PBC fight.
Okay.
And in addition, his income potential is tied to the amount of pay-per-views that are being sold. So it's making a false equivalency here. All right, it's comparing apples to oranges. Now, what we need to do is, if we want to talk about how much if we want to talk about what Canelo does over at Matchroom, over at the Zone, then we need to look at what he's been making over there and establish a baseline. Like, okay, this is what he makes. This is what he's been making, and sort of average out his income. And I would say it's probably been about $30 million, between $25 $30 million is what he's been making over at the Zone. Now, the PBC contract, he was going to make $10 to $15 more than what he's been averaging at Matchroom, the Zone. So how is that? How are we? That's not a fair comparison here.
Okay, fine. So let me.
What I said. You're saying exactly what I asked you.
He has, Rafi, but let me just make a point. See if we can make sense of this. Right. This is a business negotiation, isn't it? So with a business negotiation, you negotiate points of contention to get an agreed outcome. Canelo, when he normally has a contract, this is what he's used to seeing. He's used to seeing that he gets the same money if the opponent changes. Yeah. So why didn't they say, well, if you want that in the contract, we'll have to lower the guarantee. So we'll lower the guarantee to match what you get. However, you will still maintain your upside. So if that's the way that you want to proceed with it, we'll do it that way. Why do they just throw the toys out the pram and say it's our way or the highway?
Why did they?
I have a better question.
Why did PBC not negotiate a deal that they felt was acceptable?
I have a better question. Why is it that Team Alvarez didn't put all these demands on the table from day one? It seems like the fight fell through because Team Alvarez came up with all these demands towards the end after all of the terms had been agreed to.
No. We've heard about them at the end.
the problem I see, as I see it, is that when you go into contracts, you negotiate, you sit down and you say, this is what I want. What the one side says, this is what I want. The other side says, this is what I want. Okay, you sit down, you lay your cards on the table, and you come up with a workable deal. What happened with this deal, it seems, is that by drips and drabs, there was leaking out information, drips and drabs. They want this, they want that, they want the other. I don't know the sequence with which the information and the demands or the stipulations or the requirements came out, but it certainly was leaked out in drips and drabs. But because it was leaked out in drips and drabs, that doesn't mean to say that one should assume that it was told in dribs and drabs. So I really don't know the sequence of how the information was given, relayed, told, the stipulations. I don't know the sequence, but it was released in dribs and drabs. Now, if it came out in dribs and drabs, if they were adding stuff all the time, then I would have a problem with that. But I don't know that that was the case. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I can't say that. It was released in drips and drabs, but we ought not to assume that that was the sequence in which the information was given from.
So essentially, this is a contract of employment. Yeah, it's a short-term contract of employment, essentially, is what it is. Now, not only do you expect to see your salary in a contract of employment, which I'm sure we've all had here, you also expect to see your holiday entitlement, your pension, whatever other benefits are on offer. You expect to see all of that in the contract from the beginning. And if you're in a strong position and you know that you're the only person who can do this job for whatever reason, you may negotiate that contract. That's pretty normal. I know it's pretty normal because I've worked in recruitment for the last 15 years. So negotiations happen, and they don't always happen purely on the salary. They may happen around terms and conditions. It's quite common. So just because of what we've heard and the order that we've heard about it, it's very unlikely we're going to hear the bones of contention when negotiations are still ongoing. Once negotiations have failed, that's when you're going to hear the details, because to be frank, people are trying to apportion blame because it hasn't happened. It's the only motive for releasing the stumbling blocks. And some of the stumbling blocks that Plant put out are ridiculous. Like, we let him have the Mexican TV rights. It's like, well, Caleb Plant, what Mexican TV sales do you bring to the table? You know, they let him have his own sponsorship money that Canelo brings with him, talking about this nonsense. So the real crux of potentially what could have been an actual stumbling block is this clause over replacement opponents. But we've seen time and time again with Matchroom, Eddie has a replacement on standby, so his fight is protected, so the money comes in.
Man on deck.
Yeah. And so then he's able to put these things in the contract for his fighters. So my argument is, to Canelo, this is a normal thing to see in a contract. So if you're Al Heyman and you say, well, if you want this clause, the guarantee is going to have to go down. That's the point of negotiation.
Yeah, you negotiate. You negotiate. That's what I was saying. Negotiation. You go around the table, fight doctor, you go around the table and you negotiate.
Meanwhile, you just missed your date.
No, you negotiate at the point that you're in talks initially.
Yeah, not at the end.
Okay,
but not at the end. You don't.
But in fact, he's missed his date with his silly negotiation tactics. All right, because Alvarez is not going to fight in September.
You go around the table, you negotiate.
Okay, but you guys have missed the point that I've made. Yes, you negotiate. Alvarez is supposed to negotiate, get as much as he can. I agree.
Yeah.
Right? And listen, as the fighter, as the guy who's putting his life on the line, I hope that he gets every silly demand that he makes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what good does it do Alvarez and everyone else involved if you cut off your nose to spite your face?
Well,
Which is
who's
essentially what has happened here.
In their
How
nose
did he cut off his nose? How did he cut off his nose?
Is he fighting in September?
Okay, that's true.
It may
I've got a counter question for you.
How did he cut off his nose?
Because
Is he fighting in September?
He has missed the Mexican independence fight date. This is true. 100% you're right, Fight Doctor. I've got a question for you. What big pay-per-views has Al Heyman got to provide his network platforms, Fox with, for the rest of the year? What big pay-per-views have we got?
Probably just Wilder and Fury.
That's a shared pay-per-view. So you got to halve the revenue off that. So is it going to be a big pay-per-view?
And that's not very profitable. That's not very profitable. That's not a very profitable fight.
Yeah, I mean Spence Pacquiao would have been the fight.
So now Al Heyman, who's played hardball, is actually left with nothing. Whereas all that's happened to Canelo is he's going to probably fight in November or October and probably actually make a lot of money.
Yeah. So who really is cutting off their nose? Listen, as far as I'm concerned, Canelo had high demands, fine. But you sort that out around the negotiation table. It seems like PBC, the Fight Doctor, it seems like PBC. They're not very good negotiators. Look what happened. They're not very good negotiators. It seems they need to get a negotiation. Maybe they need Lou DiBilla. Maybe they need to get Lou DiBilla back in there.
I think it goes deeper than that, Rafi. They're not used to negotiating with A-side fighters. What they do is they do in-house fights where they set all the rules. And the fighters are tied into contracts where they have no negotiating power. So they're not used to negotiating at all.
They're not used to negotiating. They're terrible. They're like a fish out of water, the Fight Doctor. They're like a fish out of water when it comes to negotiating, man. Come on.
So you guys think
it's the art of the deal.
But listen, I'm not.
Heyman don't. It seems like Al don't got it.
Listen, guys, I'm not here to argue the point for or against the PBC, right? I personally don't care. I'm just arguing. I'm just making the points that should be readily apparent here, right? That in fact, Alvarez is cutting off his nose to spite his face.
But is he? But is he? Because he's going to take another fight.
It appears to me that Alvarez's maximum earning potential would have been to realize the fight, the plant fight, on the Mexican Independence holiday weekend.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Well, let's play devil's advocate. Yeah. Plant gets COVID. He gets his money slashed. This is something that's very likely to happen to Manny Pacquiao. Do you think Manny Pacquiao is going to get the same money fighting Ugas that he would against Spence?
Yeah, once again, I don't expect to pay $200,000 for a replica Ferrari.
Exactly.
So no, he's not going to get the same amount of money.
So who's to say that Plant doesn't pull out with COVID? We're seeing this happen left, right, and center. Alvarez has no protection. He ends up fighting some no-name fighter. There's no money on the back end of the pay-per-view because it tanks, and he gets his purse halved. So rather than do that, he goes back to DAZN and he fights for a guarantee of around 30 million, like you said. So actually, he could end up being better off because there was no guarantee for him.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, I personally think that if he's not happy with, listen, there are risks involved in business. All right.
Exactly.
And listen, if he's not happy with taking a risk in signing to fight a guy who he thinks might pull out for whatever reason, then he should go back to fighting tomato cans on DAZN for his guaranteed purse.
So if he ends up fighting Bivol, is that fighting a tomato can?
And no, I'm not accusing Bivol of being a tomato can. But what I am saying is that Alvarez has been fighting some soft touches lately. I'm not accusing Bivol of being.
Okay, let's look at that. So let's compare Plant's resume to Billy Joe Saunders. Who do you feel has a better resume?
Probably Billy Joe Saunders.
Okay, that was his last fight.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I saw the fight just like everyone else, and despite whatever the current spin is, I did not see Billy Joe Saunders put up a lot of resistance. I did not see his opponent before Billy Joe Saunders put up a lot of resistance. I didn't see the opponent before that opponent put up a lot of resistance. But I didn't see the opponent before the opponent before that opponent put up a lot of resistance.
I agree with all of those statements, but I also saw Caleb Plant labor with Caleb Truax. So what on earth part of Caleb Plant's resume, fights, or talent or ability am I supposed to make me believe that Plant is going to put up more resistance than those two fighters?
Well, listen, I have never ever confused Caleb Plant for Gerald McClellan. Okay,
exactly.
Now, so
I'm saying
not
they're
sure.
all comparable.
So I think
belt holders are interchangeable.
Right. So I think what you're doing is you're making my argument, which is that, and I still maintain that Canelo Alvarez is the most protected fighter in the sport, and there's nothing that I see there's nothing that I see that has changed my mind. Now, if he goes up and fights Benavidez, then maybe I would change my mind. But
I'm not capping for Canelo Alvarez. My point is, Caleb Plant would just be another tomato can. He would just happen to be on the PBC by your measure. And that's it. That's all I'm saying.
I would be inclined to agree with you, sir. I'll be inclined to agree.
So okay. So what final words on this point? Final words on this point. As we come to the end of the show, it was just getting spicy. But John's got an early morning, Rafi's got an early morning. So as spicy as it was, I mean, hey, you gotta get in there earlier, guys.
We're gonna leave the people wanting more, Rafi. It's a good thing.
Leave them wanting more, mate. Leave them wanting more. You got the flavor of the spice on your tongue now, and you want more. Appetite is raised, but it's 1:42. That's the duration of the show. My, how time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so we're gonna have to go with the final words now. Let's go with final words from John Dealey.
We've actually got no big fights left in the year. I think at this stage, the biggest fight left that I believe is definitely going to happen is Usyk versus AJ, because I'm not sure about this Tyson Fury. You can't rely on anything that he does.
Can't rely on that guy. So
that's about all that's left at the moment out of the proposed big fights of the year. It's disappointing.
Okay, so stick around, John. Stick around. There's another little quick one we're gonna have to do. Very, very quick one. Fight Doctor, your final words on this point.
Yeah, so Alvarez, most protected fighter in the sport. I'll just say he needs to fight somebody, honestly.
Okay, it's all right, fine. That's your final word. We'll stick around. My final word on this point is, it's about the negotiation. It's the art of the deal. It's the art of the deal. PBC, they ain't good around the negotiation table. They had Lou DiBilla working with them. Al had Lou DiBilla working up with them. Al got Deontay Wilder a deal that was out of this world. And as a consequence, you know what they did? They fired. Well, they didn't fire him because they didn't hire him. They were working with him. They ceased and desisted their relationship with Lou DiBella. So that just goes to show you they ain't real good at negotiations. And so I think that's why the Canelo thing dropped through. They didn't have to give Canelo everything he asked for. They could have negotiated down. They said, no, we can't give you 40 mil. We can give you 30 mil as a guarantee, upfront guarantee. And just negotiate each point as it came along. But they didn't do that. And they lost the deal, dropped out. They said that Canelo cut off his nose to spite his face, but really, I mean, he can get another fight, no problem. Caleb Plant, where's his 10 million gonna come from? Will he ever see 10 million from one fight if you don't get it with Canelo Alvarez? Call him what you want to call him. You know, I ain't capping for him, but there's the deal, the art of the deal. PBC don't deal very well. PBC don't do well around the negotiation table. They just don't. So that's that on the Canelo front. Okay, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? What is it? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Ugas versus Pac-Man. Pac-Man versus Ugas. Who wins? John D. Lee. Well, okay, let me go first. Let me put my neck on the block first then. Okay. I say that Ugas is a lead-footed. He does fire real fast counters, so that's his strong point. Weak point is his lead feet. I think that Canelo can dart in and dart out. But you can't rule out the possibility that Ugas can catch him darting in. You can't rule that out. But I'm going to go with Canelo. Remember, I'm going to go with Pac-Man. I was going with Pac-Man against Spence because I think that Spence is broken. And I say that with no joy. But I'm going with Pac-Man. John D. Lee.
I'm going with Ugas, and I'm basing it on two things. Ugas is signed with the PBC. It's happening on their platform. And I don't think Manny's going to knock out Ugas. And we've seen some horrendous decisions over there already this year. Also, whilst he isn't the most nimble of fighters, he's a big welterweight, and Manny's not a welterweight. And we saw a big welterweight in Jeff Horn bully Manny around, and Ugas is quite rough. So I think it's going to be a dirty fight. I think it's going to go the distance. And I think Ugas is going to get that belt cemented and kept on PBC side by beating Manny. He may not deserve the win, but he might do because of what I saw Jeff Horn do to Manny as well.
Jeff Horn did to Manny. That was rough. But it wasn't a temperature involved in that. Wasn't there some temperature? Wasn't there some dry heat, some wet heat? Wasn't there some?
Well, I mean, maybe. But it was also maybe a bit of hometown cooking. But Ugas is going to benefit from hometown cooking, isn't he?
Hometown cooking. The fight, doctor.
Yeah, I kind of agree with my esteemed colleague, Mr. D. Lee, that I don't know that I would pick Ugas, but I would not surprise to see that he has his hand raised at the end of the fight.
Who?
Ugas. I would not be surprised that he would get the decision. Well, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if he stops that.
You're picking Ugas then?
No. I think. I honestly, I'm not. I'll make a pick the day of the weigh-in. Right. I want to see what Ugas looks like at the weigh-in. And I want to see what Pacquiao looks like at the weigh-in. And then I'll make my pick. But listen, obviously the smart money has to be on Pacquiao only because of who Pacquiao is. But again, I can't ignore all of the points that John made, which were all valid. We all saw what happened in the Horn fight, right? And Ugas is a big welter. And, if he wants to go in there and rough it up, well, Pacquiao, obviously, he doesn't like that. And listen, look, the simple fact of the matter is this. Pacquiao's career post 130 has been well orchestrated, right? It's been well orchestrated. And
do you think this is a setup? Slipping Ugas in there and taking.
No, I think that this was their last ditch option. Okay, no Spence, but what are we going to do? This is, second in line. Okay, so I think it's just happenstance that Ugas was preparing for a fight on the undercard, and the detached retina happened, and now here's this big opportunity, right?
So you don't think it was a setup?
Listen, anything is possible. Boxing is a dirty sport, so anything is possible. So
Rafi,
nothing would surprise me.
I'm going to put this to you. You were picking Manny Pacquiao
I am picking Manny Pacquiao.
No, against Spence. So you
Yes,
were
I
picking
was.
him.
I'm still picking him. Yeah.
No, that's all fine.
Yeah.
How were you picking him to beat Spence?
Oh, how was I picking Manny Pacquiao to beat Spence? Okay, so basically, I think the Spence is impaired. Certain people chose to overlook that during the Garcia fight, and I was one of them. I was commentating with some other people, and they kind of swayed me a little bit. So the things that I saw, I kind of pushed to one. The negative things in Spence that I saw, I kind of pushed to one side because the group kind of swayed me. I kind of went with the group, you know, kind of. But then after that, I heard some other people whose opinions I respect say, "Hold on." They said the same things that I was thinking that I said earlier in that fight accompaniment show. Yeah, and so they say the same. So I said I wasn't imagining. I saw the things that you say, and I saw and I commented on them at the time in the earlier rounds. Later rounds, I kind of went with the crowd. They kind of swayed me. But so, more importantly, straight direct to the point, how did I see Manny Pacquiao beating Spence? Well, basically, Spence was keeping his hands up, his earmuffs up, and I saw Manny Pacquiao is one of the best at getting around them earmuffs. He will go right through the middle at an angle. It will go from being in front of you, switching an angle, and be hitting you with hooks from the side. And I saw Manny Pacquiao winning by using the art of misdirection.
So just to cut to the chase, would it have been a points or KO victory for Manny?
Damn. Yeah, it could have been either. I wasn't picking points or KO.
Because my thing is, I've seen some bad robberies on the PBC.
You're saying that Pacquiao couldn't have won by points. They wouldn't have been allowed to win by points.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about the Ugas fight as well.
Interesting point.
Was it? I can't say the guy from the Dominican Republic surname. I can't think of it. But when Rolly Romero fought that Dominican,
yeah,
that was a horrendous robbery. It was outrageous. It's a true definition of a robbery.
Yeah.
And I've not seen the fight because I didn't really have a lot of interest in it. But there was one at the weekend that people were in outrage about on the PPC as a robbery as well.
There was what's the names involved? Fox and some other cat.
Yeah. And there's been allegations of racism around it as well, haven't there?
Allegations that one of the judges had made racist social media posts, and well, she had. I've seen them.
No, she has. I mean, there's no question.
Her name was Gloria Martinez. Gloria Martinez, and her scorecard for that fight, which I'm looking for, Maestro Fox, Maestro. One guy was named Maestro, the other guy was named Fox, and there's the allegations that the Gloria Martinez, one of the judges with the most lopsided scorecard. She had made racist social media posts, and I have seen them, so it's fact. She's now took down her Twitter, but people already took screenshots of the tweets of Gloria Martinez. She was the worst. All the judges' scorecards were bad, but she was the worst. And now they're talking about, it's the Maestro Fox, and now they're talking about, let's click on that. The pictures should come up. The fight was close and controversial. The fight was not close. Where's the pictures? Okay, thank God. Oh, I'm not even showing this. Damn it. I'm not even showing the damn thing I thought I was, but hold on. My bad. Maestro Fox, let's get the pictures up. I'm probably blocking it with some comment. Let's get that down. Maestro Fox. There's some comments of racism there, and I can't really see. Well, is one whiter than the other? What is it?
One's Hispanic and one isn't.
Oh, okay, so one's Hispanic. They're the same complexion, but one is Hispanic. The one who won it, the Maestro, who didn't win it, he lost almost every round. I guess he's, what the hell am I doing? I'm losing my damn mind. They'll probably
12 rounds.
They'll probably want to do something to me for letting that play, mind you. Who is this? This is Fox. I might be okay. Might be okay. Okay, so Maestro on the left. Fox is the black guy apparently. The same complete. I don't know really.
Well, I think the thing is, what you find in America, and Fight Doctor can either tell me I'm wrong or right.
Yeah.
So if you're Dominicans, and I think there's a few other Caribbean Spanish-speaking islands that consider themselves Hispanic and not African descent.
So
but obviously they are mixed people.
Yeah, they're mixed people. They look equally whatever to me. I don't know, but
So the Dominican Republic actually has a history of racism against darker people.
Yes.
They have a policy. So they have a policy in the DR right now where people who are naturalized Dominicans, right, meaning that their parents were born in the DR, their parents were born in the DR, but let's say their grandparents were from Haiti. Well, they're deporting those people right now, like naturalized Dominicans who are black, but most of the people, I don't want to say most, but there's a sizable percentage of the people of the Dominican Republic have African heritage. It's probably most.
But even the fair ones, you can see that they're a Creole people. Like they have got mixed ancestry, including African descent.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, that's across the board.
But in the DR,
I'm aware of what you're talking about, Fight Doctor. I know about it.
Yeah, but in the DR, there is this policy. There are these policies that exist against more darker skinned people.
They're grading it, and they're deporting anybody that they deem as being too black, without recognizing the fact that they've all got a mixed heritage.
Exactly.
No, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
So now, in this instance, from what I understand, the guy on the left is actually from Venezuela, and possibly has some type of connection to either the WBA or the judge in question, or who knows what. But he is Venezuelan.
Yeah. She's Hispanic. He's Hispanic, and Venezuelans have got portions where there's a mixed ancestry there too, haven't they?
Yeah, and the WBA just happens to be based in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So this seems to be, the racism in question appears to be Spanish versus African racism. So
well, Hispanic versus African Americans quite rife, isn't it? Racist divide there, because that's what Floyd Mayweather based his whole career on, isn't it?
Yeah, in this case, it seems like Spanish versus African. That's the issue there with Gloria Martinez, the female judge who had the worst scorecard. It's utterly crazy. It's crazy, man. It's madness. It's madness. It's madness. Fox outboxed him and scored a knockdown. Yeah. So, hey, that Fox.
So that's kind of my point about Manny Rafi. I don't think he can win because he's not signed to PBC.
That's going to be a crazy one if they try to rob Pacquiao. He's a bit of a legend in the sport. So, wow, if they do that, wow, that would be big. That would be crazy, yo. Hey, that Fox bout was disgusting all around. That's it. Why not just make?
So can I just make a quick comment about this particular fight?
Carry on.
This underscores why these sanctioning mobs should never be taken seriously. I mean, this is a perfect example. This is Exhibit A. The judge, one of the judges, and the judge who turned in that egregious scorecard, is the wife of some executive of the WBA. So essentially, her scorecard, there will never be an investigation by the WBA into this judge because of her connections.
There has to be. I haven't really got too deep into this, but I certainly will be campaigning for her never to be in any kind of position where integrity matters.
I think there's going to be a different situation with her, though, because there's things levied against her that are clearly true, that are not connected with boxing that make her unfit for any job.
Yeah.
So we have seen people in the United States of America who have behaved in the racist fashion that she has, sacked from their job for doing that.
Yeah.
That is enough.
Yeah.
So the corruption that you're talking about, Fight Doctor, will probably not be the reason that she's removed. I mean, I take it you're aware of some of the things that she said about Michelle Obama.
Yeah, the comments that she made. Yes, I've seen. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think she'll be dismissed for that.
Well, I mean, not only in boxing circles, whatever job she has outside of boxing, if it involves dealing with people, then she clearly is not fit to be in a any kind of people facing position. She can't be dealing with people of different races because clearly she's incapable of conducting herself in a respectable manner in such situations.
Yeah, so I think
as per her own words.
Yeah, so I think what needs to be understood here is that there's a different reality which exists in Latin America with regard to race. And
well, that needs to change. I know it exists, but it needs to change. And believe you me, my friend, believe you me, over here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, I will be doing a very acerbic piece on that lady. And is she a lady? Does she deserve the title of lady?
No.
I'll put it to you, she certainly does not. She cannot be referred to, my good friends, as a lady because she has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is no lady.
In fact, you know, some of the remarks that she has made have been pointed at a very fine lady in Michelle Obama. So she's proven to be not a lady as far as I'm concerned.
She's proven that. Carry on, the Fight Doctor.
So all we need to do is look at the conditions of Black people in Latin America. For instance, the Black people of Brazil. Brazil is a country, 66% people who identify as being Black or of African heritage, but the Black people of these, a country like Brazil, they are socially, economically at the bottom, right? Same is true for Mexico. And if you look at the Afro-Mexicans,
South America in general, it is backward in the area of racial equality.
Well, if you look at Brazil, Fight Doctor, let's look at Brazil. The Portuguese initiated the transatlantic slave trade, and they were the last ones to give it up. The levels of racism that they have in Brazil is actually outrageous. I can't remember the name for it, but they have every year there's a lady who's a dancer that gets elected to lead one of their big carnivals. And about 4 or 5 years ago, they elected a quite dark-skinned Black lady to do this, and she had to be removed because they wouldn't allow a dark-skinned lady to take this position.
So what we know from South America is that it is very backward in the areas of equality. And a shame on them, but I will be doing a piece on this lady because she makes my skin crawl, tell you the truth. And she needs to be removed. If she is working in any area where she's dealing with people, and her racism will therefore be a factor, she has to be removed, not just in boxing circles. If she's got a day job, that's got to be looked at too. There is no way they're talking about doing a rematch. They're talking about a rematch, but I'm saying, what you're talking about, rematch? It's got to be, the decision should be overturned. It should be a no contest. And, no contest. It should, well, at the very least, it should be a no contest. But yeah, That is what I'm saying. I'm saying on that.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to go to jail.
Okay, so it's going to be the final words now because we come to the end of the show. So it's going to be the final words, and we're going to go around the table. John D. Lee, have your say. Bye, good man. First of all, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Raf. Thanks for having me. It's always disappointing when we have to talk about these subjects on here, but I think it's important that we do, because the racism that we see across the board in all sorts of different circles, the only way to get rid of it is to first acknowledge it, recognize that it's happening, and then take measures against the people doing it. And I'm sure Rafi's going to highlight this very well. There's a lot of documented evidence to show the sort of person that she is. And it's impossible for someone like this to be allowed to work in anything where she has to deal with people, because she will always come across people of different ethnicities. And racism is wrong in every single way, and you're not fit to deal with those people if you hold those sort of views. So have a good night, Rafi, and thanks for having me on.
Excellente, excellente. That was the John Daly. Much appreciation for his contributions. Thank you very much, John. And then there were two. Fight Doctor. Time is running late over here, so wrapping this up. Your final words, please. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you. Only in boxing can this type of filth, could this type of disgusting behavior exist. Only in boxing. This was football, baseball, basketball. The person who would act in this manner would be shamed out of the sport without question, right? But in boxing, this type of behavior is allowed. It's about 20 years ago. The IBF was paid a visit by the FBI. They hauled off the top guy, the head guy of the IBF. They hauled him off to Club Fed. And the IBF has been, relatively speaking, they have been on the straight and narrow ever since. The only way this type of filth, this type of disgusting behavior can be cleaned out of the sport of boxing is when people start going to jail. Somebody needs to go to jail, right? When people in the WBA start going to jail, this will stop. When people in the WBC start going to jail, that's when their shenanigans will stop. But as long as it's business as usual, as long as it's, wink, wink, and, money under the table, and nobody is going to jail, nothing will change. And I leave you with that.
That was the Fight Doctor. Much appreciation goes out to the Fight Doctor, as well as the Iron Kong, who was on earlier, and the John D. Lee. Okay, folks, it was a good one. We got through the topics very, very well. Very, very well dissected. And even the Fight Doctor was making sense towards the end there. Complete and utter madness. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on with Radio Shack? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, Gloria Martinez. Where's the damn face? Where's the damn face? Should I bring it up? I don't even want to bring up a face. I don't even want to bring up a face. But I'm gonna have to do a piece on that. It's 2000. What is it? It's 2021. 2021, and still got fools like Gloria Martinez walking the face of the earth, and that's okay. But being in positions of power, that's quite sickening. I will do a piece on that in the upcoming days. But in the meantime, it's the Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it's the thank you to the Bronze Plumber, Rafi, Kong, John. Much appreciation. Much appreciation. Okay. So until the next one, Mr. Raphael Dawkins is the Combat Radio. Look out for the videos. Look out for the notifications. I don't know if this one came through okay today. A bit dodgy, but I do post up the shows on Twitter and Facebook. So if YouTube fails, hopefully they come through. And what's left for me to say tonight is thank you for your attendance and blessed.